What's up, nerds? My name is Jeremy Akers, Jeremy Nathaniel Akers, and I want to talk to you about some liberating motherfucking structures. Earlier last week, whatever, a friend hit me up and said, hey, I got myself a situation. I could use some liberating structures. And they told me about their situation, and I wrote it up in this design briefing. A design briefing is the minimum specifications of information I need in order to make a recommendation about what structures they could use in their context. And that consists of a description. In this context, we are working with an intentional community where there is a mentorship of some new stewards taking place. The purpose of this meeting, this gathering, is a new budget has been produced. And that new budget leads us to the opportunity of some form of road mapping session. And what we want to get out of that is that some explanation of this budget happens, that some questions take place in order to generate some understanding of this content. In terms of our participants, our people, we have our subject matter expert that knows all about this budget. We have 3 existing stewards. We have 7 mentees in the mix, so 10, 11 people. And then we've got ourselves some parameters. We've got this Excel document with a list of all projects / businesses going on in the community. And we've got ourselves about 2 hours in real life to make the whole damn thing happen. With that being said, what's our proposal? Ecocycle planning to give ourselves some opportunity to make sense of the content of the budget, the businesses especially. Then we've got ourselves a celebrity interview to make sense of the nitty-gritty details around the budget items, what's in there. And then we've got ourselves a what, so what, now what, to give ourselves the opportunity to debrief and make sense of this stuff that we've just experienced together and decide especially what makes sense now. So a pretty linear and relatively straightforward string of structures. Let's get into them. So Ecocycle planning is going to help us make sense of the portfolio of activities. And Ecocycle is just a better metaphor. So to set the stage here, what we're going to do is we're going to make an index card for each line item or project, each business. I would do this before the session itself, but you can do it in the session, I guess. And then I want to divide that stack of projects amongst all participants. So basically everybody gets an equal stack, shuffle them up, randomize them, whatever. And then of course we introduce the Ecocycle, which I'll do in just a second. Our first move is to map each item, each project, to the Ecocycle, placing it where you believe it belongs. If you don't know, think about who you can ask about that stuff and save it for the next step, which is in just 10 minutes. We want to have a one-on-one where we merge our maps together. And just take note of your differences of opinion and move on so that we don't get stuck on time. So we're going to take each of these, business 1, project 1. If it is something that we don't really do right now, but might do in the future, it belongs in this seed phase. If it is, if it sort of consists of something that we recognize as valuable, but don't invest much in time or in energy into, then it's going to go in that scarcity trap. If we believe that it is, something that we recently started investing time and energy into, it belongs in birth. And if it provides us genuine bona fide value, maturity is the place. If we believe that this is in the category of something that we should let go of or change but keep doing, then it belongs in the rigidity trap. And if it is in the category of things that we are actively sort of changing and rethinking, then we put it in creative destruction. So every single project, every single business, we want to put at some point on this developmental arc of the eco cycle and figure out where all of these are at. First, we do that silently in just 5 minutes, solo. Then we do it with a partner. We merge our maps together. And once we've done that, we map it all to a shared eco cycle. And we do that all together. It's a bit of a mess. It's a bit of a free-for-all. Try and time box yourself to just 10 minutes and see what you got. If you want to take more time, you can make use of a gallery walk to compare different eco cycles, or just reflect on the eco cycle that you have created. You can also think about a shift and share in order to create a bit more of a forum for explanation around the conclusions that each pair came to. Those will both cost you more time. If you choose not to, after 30 minutes though, we should have gotten our hands on the entire portfolio of activities and figured out sort of where it belongs in this developmental path. With that out of the way, we get into the celebrity interview. And this helps us with this information radiation and spreading knowledge. And we want to use the celebrity interview because it's going to help us avoid this hell on earth, which is the possibility for this nerd to show up with this Excel document that he's spent God only knows how much time on. I just assume it's a dude, could be a she. Don't mean to be gendered, but some person has spent a bunch of time on this budget, and they could turn on a screen, close the windows, put on a projector, and bore everyone to death for hours going through each item, and then at the end of an hour of staring at a screen in darkness that you don't understand, then ask any questions. So celebrity interview is going to help us avoid that outcome. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the stage. And by stage, I really mean it. Think about Oprah. Think about a late night talk show. Get yourself a comfy couch. Get yourself a big desk and then a comfy couch or some bar stools. But give yourself the opportunity to sit in front of the group and have an interaction between the interviewer and the celebrity. So as we set the stage, we can introduce both the celebrity and the topic to our group. And then the interviewer is going to ask the sort of obvious questions, the questions that we would expect the subject matter expert to have come to deliver information regarding. We really want to lean into both the vibe of gravity, think like an investigative journalist, ask the hard questions. But also humor, right? Take our opportunities to crack some jokes and get some laughs. What's really great about this celebrity interview is that often when we're using this structure, we're talking to subject matter experts, specialists, and we're talking to people that have hierarchical and often positional authority. And so take your opportunity to humanize these folks. Ask a question that helps, reveal something interesting about the motivations of these people. What got you into creating, to this work of creating this budget? What's the most challenging aspect of putting this thing together? What do you hope to people take away? And, how is it for you? Blah, blah, blah. Just, get to know the person behind the process. After we've taken just 10 minutes to sort of do that interviewee thing, we want to ask everybody else in the group to pair up and in just 5 minutes to generate some additional questions. My preferred material for additional questions is index cards. Think your card stock 3x5 cards. But just generate some questions. One great prompt to help get questions is to ask people what part of what they have heard is so far the least clear. What needs additional clarification? Where are they confused? There's an opportunity to both answer those questions in the one-on-one and then, of course, to surface them on the index cards if you can't get out as a pair. And then our interviewer is going to sort of sift the cards, look for patterns, and ask the questions with our interviewee, with our celebrity. And in just 10 more minutes, they will then make a closing comment, thank our celebrity, and in just 30 more minutes, we will have received some of the expertise from our subject matter expert and be ready to move on to our debrief. So our debrief is really all about making sense together. And the reason we want to make use of what, so what, now what is by leaning into this ladder of inference and first discussing just our salient observations. What are the observations that stood out? And then discussing the significance or impact of those observations. And then and only then adding action, the now what. The action always comes at the end. We make ourselves real happy, give ourselves an opportunity to have a great big party and have lots of fun. If we can avoid arguments by moving coherently up that ladder of inference to recognize when we're on sort of different stacks, so to speak. So we set the stage, we introduce a talking object, I would suggest, especially for those all spaces. We describe the general process and by moving up the ladder of inference, and our topic at this point hopefully should be clear. So what happened? What did you hear and notice? But really, it's about this. What are the facts and observations that stood out? What is salient? What is in high fidelity based on the things that popped for your attention? 1 minute solo, 4 minutes in pairs, and in 5 minutes we go around to the all space. After that, we do the so what, and what makes that stuff important? What was the impact of those observations? What are the patterns, conclusions that are emerging? What hypotheses and assumptions might we make? Again, 1 minute solo, 4 minutes in pairs, 5 minutes to go around the all space. And then we move on to now what. And now what is simple. With all that information and all that experience, what actions make sense? 1 minute solo, 4 minutes in pairs, 5 minutes to go around the all. And in just 90 minutes, we will have wrestled with the content all by ourselves and made sense of it. We will have received a download from our subject matter expert. And we will have decided what actions make sense based on both of those experiences. This will easily stretch to 2 hours, have no fear. But this is a great start. So with this string of liberating structures, we go through a sort of classic 3-act structure. First we set up. We make sense of the content. Then we have ourselves a conflict, the nitty-gritty, the details of the budgets and the hard choices that were made. And then we resolve them, deciding what actions make sense. That is a very clean and linear string of liberating structures that'll help to include and unleash everyone in this conversation. That hopefully that these stewards can actually rinse and repeat when it comes to presenting this information, I presume, to the larger community and context. My name's Jeremy Nathaniel Akers. I want to thank you once more for your time, attention, and energy. This was a Wise Crowds production, and I hope you found it valuable. Some shit like that. I don't know. Whatever. Have a good time. Be good, nerds. Everybody love everybody.